from Rage Select joining me as my special guest.
That's me. I'm Jeff from Rage Select. Hi.
RageSelect.com. You don't want to go to RageSelect.org. That's something different altogether. That's weird.
Oh, is it? I thought I got them all. I'll have to go.
Did you? I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm imagining it's something. It's like, yeah, that's like JRPG porn. I'm sure Jeff doesn't own it.
Not as far as you know. Actually, when I made Rage Select, I think that there was I checked every social media outlet, and there was one other person with the username Rage Select, and I'm pretty sure it was on Tumblr. And I was like, well, sorry, Tumblr guy. So if Tumblr guy is watching, I'm sorry that a bunch of people were like, "Where's Jason Murphy? What is this Tumblr account?" Sorry, guy. That's
Man, URLs are weird. These guys been ever since Oneofus.net's been around for 6 years plus now, and there's somebody's just been sitting on Oneofus.com ever since then, saying coming soon a dating site, and I was it never appeared, and I think now it's just a sort of something might be here soon, but it's not for sale. I'm like, God damn it. But at this point, who cares, right? It's like, it's Oneofus.net. But I get the weirdest messages from people like, Oneofuswebsite.net is now available. I'm choosing to sell it, and I'm going to offer it to you because I think it's only right you should have it. And I was like, I don't want that. Go away. Why are you bothering me?
That's nice. You should get it. You should just get everything that is associated with. No. All right.
No,
fair enough.
No. But you bought all the options for Rage Select. You got RageSelect.edu, and you got RageSelect.porn and RageSelect. What is that face? Did you not get any of those?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I own those or not. I have no idea. It's at this point running the actual website RageSelect.com. I'm just a month away from closing that thing down and going to a YouTube channel. It used to be that we had the Discus comments on the website, so it was like, oh, do you not want to do YouTube comments? Well, then you could do our comments. And then Wix totally boned Discus integration, and now I'm just like, why do I even have this website?
So I feel that way often. It's difficult running your own website and being the one person who's really kind of has to make the decisions, has to look at the bills versus the amount of work that you're putting in, feels guilty about other people doing work for you, which we have so many great people that help out at this site who just volunteer their time. I know you do too. Or you're not paying any of us when we come on there, and we wouldn't take your money if you did. Well, no, actually I would take your money if you did, but I know that that's not in the cards. So, but it's kind of turned into communities.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yep.
But, I appear on Jeff's website all the time, as obviously I don't need to explain. He sometimes comes on mine because he's here right now. That's kind of self-explanatory. And the reason I brought him on is because there was this big announcement that happened this week from PlayStation that was put off by a few weeks for good reason, because the world has been on fire lately. So they were like, maybe y'all should be worrying about that instead of what games are coming out. But now that we know the games are coming out, everyone has a strong opinion. Mm-hmm. God knows we do. And we're going to talk about some of those things. I mean, why wouldn't we, right? I mean, Jeff runs a gaming website. I know have you already done your podcast about what the actual, about the release?
Yes. Bryce Castillo from over at Night Attack and I did a whole 2-hour podcast that you can find at the aforementioned RageSelect.com. But yeah, they put out the huge stream. We finally got. The thing is that with the lockdown and with everything that's been going on, it's felt very much like E3 was, and then the Electronic Entertainment Expo was just like, well, we don't know what to do about E3, so. But usually this time of year is a solid week of nothing but huge announcements that are going to change the face of gaming forever all the time. And we finally got one. Like Microsoft put on this kind of anemic show about the Xbox Series X a few weeks back. And there's been some moderate PC, hey, here's a new game, here's a game that's coming type of thing. But it's always great when it's an event. And this was like a big event. This video was just really cool, and it reminded me of why I love E3 so much.
It was cool. I actually, believe it or not, sat and watched it. I found myself, maybe it was just because I wouldn't have watched it when it was supposed to come out originally, but because they were like, "Oh, now we're not doing it for a while," I was like, "What?" But now I want to see it. So when it came on, I'm all sitting by my computer, like, "All right, let's see it. Where is it?" I mean, it was a mixed bag, but these things always are, and I suspect a lot of people were watching it for probably because of the same thing as me. I've been a Sony boy since there were PlayStations. I've gotten all the other systems at one time or another, but I've always preferred the PlayStation over the other choices. This still looks like I'm going to prefer this over the Xbox offerings for whatever reason. I think Xbox focuses so much more on multiplayer and Nintendo focuses so much more on family, and PlayStation is just kind of like, hey man, sometimes dad needs to play a game by himself.
I've this is kind of well-trod ground for me, but I think that the biggest problem that you see right now in the whole architecture of things is that the Xbox has been playing catch-up in this generation with console exclusives. So you need a reason, like whatever the next game, the next Call of Duty, it's going to be out on the PlayStation 5, it's going to be out on the Xbox Series X. Like, it may look better, slightly better on one of those, but as somebody who has an Xbox One X and a PS Pro, the differences are somewhat negligible unless you're really getting into the nitty-gritty like pixel counting. So at that point, to me, it really becomes a question of, well, what can I play only on the PlayStation or the Xbox that I can't play on the other one? And this particular generation, I mean, I know there are a lot of people out there who really like the Xbox, but there hasn't been as many reasons for me to have an Xbox Series X or One X as there were for me to have a PS4. There weren't as many games that I could only play on the Xbox that were enticing to me. Now, as a crazy person, eventually I have them all, right?
Of course,
like Pokemon. But
well, I mean, it's your business to have them all and be able to play them all. But one of the weirdest things was the way that people just lipped out over the design. I was like, it didn't even occur to me to think about it. I was like, I'm just looking at I don't care what it looks like. I mean, unless it's like a bizarre looking sculpture that has pieces that stick out like feet out from it, and you're like, where would I even put that? I'm like, yeah, that'll go on my shelf any way I do it. So
there's some sticky outy pieces that I could see right here. It's got the pop color,
When you look at it on its side, it's like, oh well, that's nothing. I mean, I didn't put my PlayStation 4 on my side on its side either, because I was like, it just doesn't fit as well that way. I like it better on flat. So I don't know. It just feels weird putting in the discs that way as opposed to that way. I'm old fashioned that way, but I don't know. I'm just like, whatever. It looks like it is. I mean, admittedly, I'd rather get the all black version, but
yeah, I there are a lot of people that get very that have a lot of feelings about their consoles. I said the only thing I don't really care what they look like. I mean, black one, white one, red. It could look like a big dick, and I wouldn't care either way. The only thing that I really kind of care about is that I do remember the Xbox 360 in its original incarnations had white controllers, had like cream colored controllers. And the thing is that white controllers show the dirt from your filthy, filthy gamer hands a lot more clearly than black controllers. So that's the only real thing that I care about, is the fact that my controller is probably going to look dirty. But I mean, it's just a matter of time until there's a black version of both the console and the controller.
I'm reasonably sure I've already seen them saying that they will have that, pictures of what it would look like. Like I think the Spider-Man, they're doing a Miles Morales launch day exclusive one that's black with like sort of red veins.
I think that was a Photoshop.
May have been a Photoshop. I don't know. I would totally get that one though, for the record.
Yeah.
But let's go into some of the games. First off, I'm going to talk about this one right here, Pragmata. This looks interesting. It's from Capcom. We're not going to expect it till 2022. It's also going to come out for the big black doorstop, as I call Xbox Series X. That's the weirdest design. It's not like it's ugly. It's just they didn't give you a choice of how to feel about it. It's just a big black box, and that's it.
As somebody who has put their console underneath their TV in a horizontal configuration for years now, I'm a little mad at Microsoft that I'm going to have to reconfigure my entire gaming area because I just want to put it below my thing. But yeah, I was convinced when this trailer first started that Pragmata was some Death Stranding relation. I was like,
right.
It was just so strange. Your cyber cat, your holographic cyber cat. which I know is your favorite part. And then, a spaceman, whatever it is, it's weird and I'm all in. Like, there's no information in this trailer outside of just like, look, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's a dude with like some sort of very specific options spacesuit thing. So clearly it's not atmospherically friendly for him, but there's a little girl walking around without an outfit who's got, like you said, he's sort of cyber ghost cat. And then something crashes through reality, like it's made of glass into their world. At like a big spaceship, and I'm like, what is this? Is like a Christopher Nolan movie that's too expensive for Christopher Nolan to make, which is to say something. And I'm in. This looks cool. I mean, we know almost nothing about it, like you said, but the trailer looks badass so far, I guess. I don't know. Why am I being wishy-washy?
I'm a big fan of new IP. I'm a big fan of doing creative stuff, and this seems to be creative stuff with a new IP. So, I'm all for it. Whatever they want to do, I'm all for it.
Well, next up we have Little Devil Inside. Yeah. This is a NeoStream game that's kickstarted all the way back in 2015. It's also going to have a release for the PlayStation 4. This is an interesting one, don't you think? It's kind of it's adventure game type thing, RPG elements. It looks like maybe definitely 3D, but unclear if it's going to be open world completely. Obviously, partially. It's not, it's not 2D.
Yeah, the trailer for this genuinely made me laugh. Like, it was so charming with the kind of the juxtaposition between this guy doing his kind of monster adventuring, and then there's this kind of old man like going to the store and sitting in the bathtub and pooping and stuff. Yeah. Like, it was just great. It kind of reminds me of like Witcher vibes with the monster hunting. Some of the camera angles remind me a little bit of Souls. I really dig the art style. I'm a big fan of a solid art style that will set your game apart. This reminds me of a PlayStation game called Tearaway that was all this kind of papercraft stuff in the very kind of flat, slightly textured way that the characters look. This was one of my favorites when I was watching this. I was just completely charmed the entire time, and I will, I'll totally. There's not really a lot that happened at this that I was like, nah, boo.
Nah, bro. Yeah. I mean, there's stuff I don't care about the new NBA game. I don't honestly
care.
Chris.
The sweat. There's so much sweat on the guy this time.
Nothing against it. That's great for people who love those games. I'm not a sports guy. I'm also not really a racing guy. I mean, when the first PlayStation came out, I played Gran Turismo. I was all into it. And I feel like I did as much as I ever need to do in terms of being super, super, super OCD about my racing game. Because the new Gran Turismo looks terrific, but I just don't have that much time to worry about what my torque is.
Some people do. I mean, like, that's the one thing I keep trying to remind my, the audience when we were watching it on Rage Select, is that I may not care about NBA 2K, but somebody out there does. And so I'm happy that they get a game. The last thing in the world I would wish for is for people to not get the games that they want. But I am with you in that I'm not really interested in playing Gran Turismo.
I mean, nothing looked like, but it was just, no, I won't be getting that one. This one looks interesting. Jet, The Far Shore. This is coming out holidays this year, so it will be a launch game. Another game that we're very unclear exactly what this title is going to be. It certainly brings up a lot of very intriguing stuff. I know you love space games, and this is described as a interstellar expedition to carve out a future for a people haunted by oblivion in the cinematic action adventure. It kind of makes me feel like it's like a space version of Journey or something, or like crossed with, what's the one where that everybody hated when it came out, but now everybody's buying it again because they finally started adding on stuff about planet exploration and shit.
No Man's Sky. Yeah, exactly. This is one of those ones where, I mean, the Super Brothers who did Sword and Sorcery, I like that game. I like the aesthetics to all of this. This is one where I definitely want to see, like, what is it that I do from moment to moment? Because I didn't really get, like, burned with No Man's Sky, but No Man's Sky kept showing these really beautiful trailers, and then it was like, well, what exactly are you doing in this game outside of just flying and landing and then flying and then landing? And the actual part of this trailer that looked like gameplay was a very small ship kind of just wandering through an environment. And so I would like to know more. Are there enemies? Are there quests? What is the story going to be? I dig
What's
the style.
The gameplay like? is
Right,
the bigger
exactly.
question for me, because I'm seeing all these things saying, oh, land on these planets, discover things about the world, the people that were there, deal with trading. And I'm like, okay, but what is the gameplay like? You're describing the world and the tone, but how am I, you know what I mean? Because like I'm not as much into the sort of wildly atmospheric art games that go on for, they tend to be a little bit short, but ultimately you don't have to do much.
Yeah, I want some violence. I would like some violence in my video games, and there's a certain category of games that's just like explore, discover, do whatever you want. And I'm like, no, you tell me what I want. You tell me which guys to shoot with the laser gun, and then I will shoot them, and then you'll say good job, and I'll be like, yay.
Hooray, that guy's dead. I shot him with my laser gun. Look, now do I get a prize?
That's what I want. That's what I want out of this world. Shoot guys with laser guns.
And unlock achievements or get a trophy or whatever system you're on. Anyway, next up we have Ghostwire Tokyo talking about your violence. This is a game from Shinji Mikami, who did the first Resident Evil, the first Dino Crisis, the first remake of the first Resident Evil 4, and then the first Evil Within. This is coming out in 2021. Obviously, survival horror is kind of his thing. This is an interesting plot with gameplay that looked to me like it was unfinished. I don't know about you, but that's kind of my feeling. It's pretty, but simplistic. It's Tokyo. Everyone's disappeared because ghosts that are kind of coming from a lot of the Japanese horror, Japanese urban legends. Like there's the one, the Kurosaki Onna, which is the female ghost who's like has giant scissors is one of the things. And there's the wedding night ghost and a young child in a yellow raincoat and stuff like that. You've got special skills to basically banish these spirits, and they've all got different attack styles and weaknesses and yada, yada, yada. And there's a conspiracy going on and of people who are wearing these masks that you see in here. And it sounds cool, but like I said, most of the graphics, they just seem kind of unfinished.
Yeah, there was something slightly off to me about this. I don't know if it was just the way that they presented the action in it, but it seemed like the action was very, I don't know, like part of me wondered whether it was on rails, whether it was something where you were going to be moving around. And like, I don't think that's the case, because when I looked back at it and looked at it, I could see the moving around, but it just, it felt very like, I don't know if it's just because most horror games aren't done from a first person perspective, or I'd like to see like a gameplay slice of this, because I like the idea, and Shinji Mikami is a great developer. You are correct in that, or I at least thought that there was something slightly off, or maybe it was just like different than the way that they normally show a first-person shooter, to the point where the question of, they showed a lot of action, but is this a first-person shooter? Because I don't know, there was some kind of disconnect in the footage that they were showing. I would really like to know more about it.
I mean, the stuff from this creator, he's done stuff that's more first-person shooter, but he's also done stuff that's very, very sneak and hide and forced perspective, survival horror stuff. I mean, it's the last game he did was surprisingly old-fashioned in that way, Evil Within, which was all forced perspective, sneak and hide, survival horror, which I think is why people weren't as crazy about the first Evil Within. And the second one, they were like, get the fuck out of here. We're going to bring in a bunch of guys who make games like we make games nowadays, and it's much better. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, he was executive producer on Evil Within 2, but but I enjoyed Evil Within 2 a whole lot more than the first one.
I actually played all the way through it. I almost never do that in like one continuous thing, but I was like, that was the only game I played until I was done. It's like, damn, this is good. Old man TC comes in and says, whatever happened to just jumping on the little monsters and popping them into tiny gold coins? You kids today with your ghosts and your Tokyos.
Pretty sure you can still do that. There's a lot of games that you can still jump on monsters in.
Well, let's talk about a game I know for sure you're excited about, Jeff. I mean, there's no chance that Jeff is not excited about Hitman 3, because you are a Hitman guy. I love
hair goals. Hashtag hair goals.
It's weird they're saying this is going to be, and this is right from the company, the final game in the world of the Assassination Trilogy. They referred to it as the Assassination Trilogy before now. That seems new to me, but okay. And then their tagline is "Death awaits."
Yeah, I mean, Hitman 2016 kicked off basically a new storyline that ended on a cliffhanger that was then continued in Hitman 2, and so this will be the third part of that. I absolutely love the Hitman franchise. I think it's
I
one of
know.
the most underrated new, like, kind of bringing back an old franchise in a way that does things I haven't seen any other game do, and I mean, the thing is that if whatever IO wants to sell, I will buy it. Basically, is where I'm at this point. I thought Hitman 2016 was superb, and then Hitman 2 was like more, and Hitman 3 looks great. All the gravelly talking voices. I thought it was funny where people were like, "Who's this guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's the Constant. He used to run this secret organization that they took out in Hitman 2. But then, now he's got captured, but he escaped to the DLC, and now he's out there causing trouble for Diana and Hitman and his Agent 47 and his brother. And so this is one of those ones I'm super into. So I'm not. It's not like I'm going to be an impartial observer and be like, well, considering blah blah blah. I'm just like, no, I want it, give it to me. I'm mad that it's 2021, but I can't have it this year.
But I know that you said that you really liked all the sort of chapter way they were releasing the last one in like chapters, and this one is not. They said they will not be doing that. Everything will be coming out in a non-episodic format on launch days, with the first mission being Dubai. But apparently you can import all the levels, just like with Hitman 2, into Hitman 3. And the new progression system they built for it will work across those other levels, which is really cool. I wish all games would do that. But let's go on to our next one.
Before we
go right ahead.
Move on. Just to be clear, Hitman 2 did the same thing. Hitman 2 came out
I said that
all at the same time. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said it was the last one. So
no, sorry, my mistake. If I did, then my mistake. I thought I said that. Anyway, to answer, Christopher Clark goes, is there going to be a first-person 2020 horror game? Okay, well, technically this is a third-person game that we're discussing here, but they tend to be pretty close. And a lot of time you can adapt it to play first-person, and that is Returnal. Now they're marketing it as sci-fi, but this is sci-fi horror. I mean, it's got the worst name of any game that we're going to talk about, probably. Returnal. It's a company called Housemarque. And it's exclusive to PS5. It's unclear when this will actually come out. It is obviously a really high-res, like graphics-heavy, very original-looking game. The idea kind of like you're on this planet, but you die regularly, and every time you die, the planet has changed. And that's both part of the plot and part of the gameplay. And it looks really surreal and creepy. Highly recommend looking at the trailers. This was, I thought, one of the more interesting trailers that were out there. Iggy says this looks like a sequel to Prey. I could have sworn, is this the one the guys from Prey were involved with? I know there's one of the new games that people from Prey were involved with, but I don't remember.
No, it's actually really strange because Housemarque, the company, the games that they put out have been very basic, very arcadey. So they made a game called Matterfall that was very kind of Mega Man-ish. They made Nex Machina that I think was a twin-stick shooter, Super Stardust. Resogun was one of the early PS4 games that was a lot like Defender. So it's really strange to see them jump in here. But when you watch the trailer, you can see some of the DNA from those previous games in the kind of bullet hell sections where there's just like a million projectiles kind of coming at the protagonist, which normally in a game that looks this like realistic, you would see so many purple flying energy balls all coming in a strange pattern at the same time. But
that's true.
Looks good. It was moody, very moody trailer, and just intriguing, kind of gravelly voiceover, and sure, put some space in your Dark Souls and give it to me. I'll take it. Yeah.
Well, next up we have one of the most talked about of all the games that are out here, games that was announced, Stray, or as people are calling it, a futuristic cat simulator. I mean, you were saying earlier, I know you want to get this, Chris, because there's a cat in it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Have you seen Stray? Oh my God. You play as the cat in the future where everyone is robots except for you. You're not a robot, you're a cat, even though you have some sort of backpack that does something. I don't know what that is, but I'm all in, baby. This is actually going to come out for the PS4 first, and then for PS5. It's from Blue 12 and Annapurna Interactive. I didn't even know Annapurna, who makes movies, had an interactive division. It's coming out for PS5 in 2021, probably coming out for PS4 in the holidays, I would assume, but I don't actually know for sure. But yeah, I am in. That little part in the trailer at the end where the cat just hops up on the rooftop and kind of looks at the camera and is like, meow. I was like, oh, kitty.
Yeah, I got a lot of I when I was watching it, there's that part at the very beginning where it says like RIP humanity or something on a wall behind with all the robots. It's like, is this a Sea of Rust game? Did Tsunami Cargill start making video games and not tell me? Because I'm going to be mad if that's the case.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Good looking cat, though. Good looking. I like all the hair tech and the way that the kind of hair and whiskers and stuff worked in that trailer. Looked really good. Looked really very. All
right. So this next one, I kind of fucked up and got a too small image, and I don't know what happened, but that's kind of what it's out of res there. Sorry, but it's called Death Loop, and it looks kind of neato. This is actually coming out. This is a launch title for PS5. It's from Arcane Lion, spelled with a Y. It looks kind of neat, and one of the cool things about this is that you're an assassin. You are trying to kill the people as you do, but you find out that you're trapped on this island and you're stuck in this time loop, and you're figuring out you have to eliminate 8 key targets in one loop to end the cycle. But the problem is there's this other assassin that wants to do the same thing, but it's got to kill you. They've got to kill you. The fun part is other players who people your friends who can see you're playing can go, oh yeah, I'm going to come in and I'm going to play the other assassin. That's kind of fucking cool. And it's very cell shady and I don't know, like it's comic booky, but in a cool way. What is the game I'm thinking of that this is like from like a PlayStation 2 even, I want to say.
I don't know.
Or 3. Sorry, 3.
I mean, this is Arcane, so these are the Prey guys.
Okay, these are the Prey guys.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of that. Well, I don't know. I mean, like it actually I think more resembles Dishonored than Prey. But it still kind of has that kind of vent crawling, like walk around, kind of making your own path type of thing. Yeah, I really dig the like kind of 70s grindhouse aesthetic that they've been using for the trailers for this. Yeah. And it's kind of, and with the main characters, I feel like there's also kind of a blaxploitation element to it as well, and that might just be 70s looking stuff. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of We Happy Few, that weird game with the people in the face masks taking joy.
Right. Yeah. I played that with you. I forgot about that game. It was kind of like 1984, but filtered through like The Watchmen.
Yeah, kind of mod 70s authoritarian, but then with this weird, I don't know. There's something about it. I think it's the fact that most of the characters are wearing masks, and that it has this kind of. I think that the mod style is a great way to kind of differentiate something. And I mean, Arcane has not done me wrong so far. I will play whatever they put out. Basically.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun to me. As does, surprisingly, one of the most anticipated games from a lot of people is the new Ratchet and Clank, which looks pretty badass. It's called Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. For the PlayStation 4, they only actually put out one original Ratchet and Clank title. There weren't, like, PlayStation 4 is definitely not the platformer of the PlayStation consoles, whereas previous systems had so many platform games, before not as much. But and the last Ratchet and Clank was basically a tie-in to the movie that they did. It wasn't bad. I liked it okay. But it's been a while since we've seen Ratchet and Clank do anything truly original, and this looks really original. It's Insomniac Games still controlling their IP and making it where he's on some screw up where he's going from dimension to dimension. He's like can ride a dragon from one dimension into a cyberpunk other dimension. And at one point, he and Clank get separated, and Clank meets up with alternate universe version of Ratchet, which is a lady Ratchet. And I'm all in, baby.
There were 6 Ratchet and Clank games on the PlayStation 3 and 1 on the PS4, and I freaking love Ratchet and Clank. The other thing that's really interesting about this is in the actual gameplay for it. There's a question that I've had for a while. The PlayStation 5 has this very, very super fast hard drive technology that they're using. And over the course of that gameplay demo where they jump between places, I'm wondering if those places are being kind of loaded on the fly, if that's kind of almost both a tech demo and a gameplay element where they're able to jump between these fully realized different worlds in a snap, because the PlayStation 5 drive technology is so fast that it's able to essentially load a brand new level just like that, like just so fast that when they jump through, or when you jump to another part of the level, that the game doesn't have to do any kind of trickery. It's basically just able to load you into something because of this SSD tech that they have on the PS5.
Yeah, and the ray tracing, they're saying Ratchet and Clank is going to be one of their big showing off that and the ray tracing new technology for it, that it's going to be the one that people go, ooh.
Yeah.
So if you go to like a Best Buy or something, expect to see Ratchet and Clank to be one of the games that you can actually play the demo of, probably. Yeah, I'm super excited for it, man. It looks great. The platform genre has sort of gone to where it's largely just indie studios making small ones these days, and often 2D side scrollers. Like a lot of the heart has gone out of what once was a thriving industry of those. I'm with some people who say, let's bring back Gex the Gecko. Where has he been? Well, I want mine with the one that's all snarky movie references, you know. Let's God, what is his name? Who voices Archer? Let's let him come in and be the new voice of Gex the Gecko and just be like
John Benjamin.
Yeah, H. John Benjamin is Gex the Gecko, and he comes in and makes snarky references to pop culture while you do platforming stuff. I would buy that game, but go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you if you really want to get back into the platforming space, you're going to need a new Jack and Daxter game, and that means that you're going to have to trade in your Uncharted 12s and Last of Us 6s and let Naughty Dog go do what Naughty Dog does so well.
That's fair. I would do that. Well, I don't know if I'd trade in those other things, but I would like one.
That's how it works. You got to break the discs.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not making that trade, Jeff. I'm good. You know what? If I have to be happy with just Ratchet and Clank, I'll be happy with just Ratchet and Clank, because you're not taking my Resident Evil away from me. More on that later. But for now, Project Athia, which is only the working title. For all we know, this is going to be called Fred's Journey, but it's from Squaresoft. We know it's an open world adventure. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's once again Squaresoft, so it probably is going to have like RPG elements in it. It looks sort of sci-fi fantasy. I'm impressed with what I'm seeing, but we know next to nothing about it, including when it will come out. We just know it's PS5 is one of the systems it will be available for.
I'm glad it's not a remake. I'm glad it's not a sequel to an existing property. Other than that, I need to see more. I mean, it looks nice, but it could be. I've seen about 8 different games that could all be this game until you show me like what exactly does this game do that makes it compelling. So,
yeah, no, I mean, agreed. But it's just that it's Squaresoft and that it's so pretty that makes me go, ooh. I know you're excited about this next one. Even though you've already played it, you probably want to see what the remastered Demon Souls look like, because you apparently like being punished by a game endlessly and constantly. You're bad, Jeff. You're very naughty.
What?
And you have to try and fight this not even boss character 40 times before you get past him. And now here's another.
Dragon God is one of the easier bosses. That's more of a puzzle boss than anything else. If you got a flame lurker, if you really want like a real challenge when it comes to a boss. No, I'm really glad that people will have a chance to play Demon Souls. Up until now, the only way to play Demon Souls has been on a PlayStation 3, and they've never ported it anywhere else. So it's great that the people are going to have a chance to play it. I just got finished watching the whole video. The question is, are they going to, because there was cut content from Demon Souls. There was a whole world that they just had to like stop, but some of the game code is still there. But the question is how involved From Software is, because local boys Blue Point Studios are doing this remaster, and then it becomes again a question of how much they're going to change it from the original. There's already some screenshots that show that just changing the lighting engine kind of makes the whole game have a slightly different tone. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're going to. Nobody. I don't know that many people want just like a straight 4K upres of the original Demon Souls. I don't know. I don't know.
You do probably.
I have a PlayStation 3. I can play Demon Souls whenever I want to. It's loaded on my PlayStation 3 and ready to go.
Of course it is.
I've played all these games so many times though that like I've got them memorized. Demon Souls is good.
Jeff goes, I want to play Demon Souls, and goes and puts on his gimp suit, and he's like, okay, I'm ready, master.
Look, if you're going to do the internet cliche that Demon Souls, the Souls series is too hard, then I'm going to do the Souls fan cliche of going like, look, they really aren't that hard. I can teach you how to play Demon Souls. No, you give me one afternoon and you will be a pro at Demon Souls. I see you putting the chat up on the screen that confirms this. They're not that hard. They're not that hard.
All right. I think they are, but that's neither here nor there. I promised you some Resident Evil. Here's some Resident Evil. And guess what? Oh my God, that looks like a werewolf to me. I was super excited. I'm like, okay, finally, I feel like we've all kind of gone, we've done the zombie thing, right? We've had 7 numbered titles and non-numbered titles with zombies. This last one, Resident Evil 7, I think is arguably the strongest title Resident Evil has put out altogether. I think it's fantastic. I've played it twice all the way through. Still not done the virtual reality. I planned on it, but my cats ate through my virtual reality helmet cords, and those things cost like $150 to replace. So that's not going to happen. This looks really cool. It looks like a Hammer Films type of look. You're playing as the character from the last game who survived, Ethan. And he was rescued by Chris Redfield, but not the other world's Chris Redfield. I keep thinking maybe is this a parallel universe they've entered us into in Resident Evil 7? Jeff says no. Nope. But they're like, he says he's part of Blue Umbrella, which is the Umbrella logo, but blue. That we know the previous one was red, although they didn't refer to themselves as Red Umbrella. They were bad, okay? This title in the trailer clearly establishes that Chris Redfield is evil. I mean, literally, I've seen like 8 articles that have evil Chris Redfield in the title of the article because people are like, no, not Chris Redfield. But
yeah, there's a whole thing. I'm not going to go into it. There's a whole thing about Umbrella and they've been reformed and Chris Redfield, blah, blah, blah. I really liked Resident Evil 7. I'm glad that they're continuing that story, like between the RE2 remake, the RE3 remake, and then the idea that for some reason they're going to remake Resident Evil 4, which is like the last game in the entire world that needs to be remade. Like it's very, very playable right now. I'm very glad to hear this. The only problem is that this news got leaked like 2 months ago or like a month and a half ago. So when this came up in the presentation, it was like, oh, here's Resident Evil Village. We kind of knew that it was coming. We kind of knew what the name was and got some information about it. But yeah, Resident Evil 7 issued the zombies for the molded, even though they kind of acted like zombies. But I like the fact that the trailer has so much insanity in it. It seems like it's going to be a little less grounded than 7. Yeah. But then I guess 7 did have, the invincible hillbilly man who chases you through the entire game.
7 was like the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? It's like dark and bloody and old and decrepit and the sort of rednecky way. This one, like I said, is more like a Hammer film. It's like, ooh, gothic, decrepit churches and scared villagers of werewolves, what have you. Bug Lady appears to be back from the previous game, which was always creepy. The lady who could like break up into a bunch of bugs and then would reform from bugs.
Marguerite, the mom. Yeah, I mean, there's those like kind of vampire ladies. I don't know. It's a really question. I want to see where they go from there because the base Resident Evil 7 was pretty good. Then the DLC for Resident Evil 7 was a little goofier. So
I did not play it. So I've always meant to download it. Never got around to it. Forgot it existed. Thanks for reminding me.
There's one.
I'm evil Dennis. We know you're Dennis.
There was one the DLCs for 7 where you literally played as like the Jack's brother, and you just went around like redneck punching zombies in the face and like eating crawdads out of the swamp, and that was weird.
That's pretty goofy.
Yeah,
well, this looks like they're going for a straight horror, and I'm all in. I'm very excited to play it. I know one of the most excited to play games for people, even though it pretty much looks like a DLC for the last Spider-Man game, but with upgraded to PS5, is Spider-Man Miles Morales, obviously made by Insomniac and Sony again. This is also going to be a launch title where they're taking the character who was developed in, well, obviously the comic books and lots of other places, but in the last game came up as a character you got to play as briefly, and now he's the main character of the new game that looks like it's largely using the exact same play mechanics as the previous one, only of course Miles has slightly different powers. I don't know. I don't think he actually got his powers in the previous game. Am I correct? I just don't remember.
No, he had him. He was bugging Peter the entire time to train him. Like that was kind of a thing where he would keep asking Peter to train him. Yeah, I read an article that basically said that this is going to be kind of like Uncharted: The Lost Legacy as a kind of standalone DLC that builds off of the previous game, but then all indications seem to be that there also is going to be some kind of PS5 edition of Spider-Man that's got all the graphical enhancements and lighting enhancements and particles and stuff like that in it. I don't know how you could be opposed to getting more of like a super fun Spider-Man game. Like it looks great.
Didn't you play through it multiple times?
I played it I played it all the way through. I didn't do New Game Plus. So that would be Michael that you would have to speak to about that. I am though kind of
playing it right now.
Yeah, I am sort of interested though to know. I don't know that much about Miles Morales outside of the Spider-Verse. Who his like rogues gallery is, because Spider-Man 2016 they had basically the Sinister Six, right? They kind of made some nods in the direction of symbiotes and Venom and stuff like that, but I don't know if Miles Morales has like a whole separate rogues gallery or what the deal is. And the trailer is kind of just people with pink laser tech, and I don't know if that's something or not. So, but whatever it is, I'll play it. I mean, Spider-Man 2016 was great, so I'll play whatever they put out.
It was indeed. So for some reason, I'm having trouble getting an image that's not fucked up for Horizon Forbidden West, but that is indeed the next title we were talking about. This is the sequel to Horizon, what was it, Zero Dawn, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Which you loaned me as a sort of like, yeah. I mean, here, you might like this. Literally, it was like talking about burying the lead. You're like, here, I guess this one maybe you'll like, which is like, he's like, maybe I should have mentioned it is arguably the best game to be released for the PlayStation 4. But you know what? Don't worry about it. Just you'll either like it or you won't. He didn't mention that it was going to be like crack, that my marriage would almost end because of it. It would be like just all I would want to do until I was done. It was kind of amazing. I still kind of wish I owned my own copy so I could go back and just play it again from the beginning, but I'm also equally glad that I don't for that same reason. But now here comes the sequel to put my life and my marriage in trouble all over again, whereas the main character now goes out to California, young lady. There's pictures and images of it, of like the Golden Gate Bridge all crusted over with nature and what have you, reclaiming it. Lots of new beasties, like a giant robot turtle and robot mastodons. And, that's looks like more of the same, just in California and different types of terrain. And hell yeah, bring it.
Yeah, it's funny that your description of Horizon Zero Dawn, the reason I did describe it like that to you is because I liked Horizon Zero Dawn, but the people that really like Horizon Zero Dawn love it like way more than I do. Like, I thought it was a very fun game. I played through it once. I didn't bother with the DLC. So when they announced this, it was like, oh, that looks like fun. I'll definitely play that. And then I looked at the people in the chat room with me, and they were just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, tear my face off. I'm fucking New Horizon. I was like, wow,
I loved it so much.
Really like this. So, but it looks good. I mean, the first game was really good, and this one looks really good. And yeah, give me more. Give me more Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't love it enough, which makes me suspect you're, what's wrong with you? Is there something wrong with you, Jeff?
Oh, just,
I mean, you're
pretty sure there's a whole subreddit devoted to what's wrong with Jeff from Rage Select. Let us count the ways. Likes Dark Souls. What? Why are we even starting this list? It's weird.
I mean, Dark Souls is real pretty from what I could see of it, which wasn't much, because it kills you immediately, and then again, and then again, and 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 again. I'm sure that there was other pretty stuff if you waited long enough. It was like, yeah, I don't know. I maybe you could send me screenshots someday of the stuff I missed, because I'm not going to play it.
Okay, fair enough.
I did try. No, I've got you. You get so excited. You've tried to make me play Bloodborne. I lasted like 3 hours on that until I was like, ah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just a matter of practice. You just got to practice at your video games. But
Marshak, I have no idea if there's a new Sims. Does the next generation system really play into what might change in a Sims game? I don't honestly know the answer to that.
I mean, Sims 4 already is out for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. They're just flogging the expansions. They just came out with a new one where you clean up the environment in your town and make trash into furniture. And I don't really understand it, because if you were to buy all of the Sims 4 at one time, you would be paying like $800 for a game about like living in an apartment and making sandwiches. And I already live in an apartment and make sandwiches, but
yeah, I downloaded because I got PlayStation Now, which good timing. I got it right before all the shit hit. I was like, ooh, now I have an endless source of games that range from great that I've probably already played to okay that I haven't, and I'm enjoying all the okay that I haven't games now. I've reached that stage. Like, this isn't good enough. But I downloaded the newest Sims that was on there for like a day before I was like, why am I playing this? I already know I don't like this. This is you're just people. Like, if you brought robot dinosaurs into it, I would be like, okay, now we're talking. But no.
I mean, I get it. I get why people like to play those sorts of games. It's just they're not really for me. And then also the console versions of The Sims 4 are horrible to control. Like, they needed to just completely redo all the control options, and instead it's like, okay, now if you hold down this button and then you get the virtual mouse and you pick this thing up, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
So going to questions, Chris says, are either of you playing Animal Crossing? We were just talking about this the other day. I don't have a Switch. Years and years ago, I was taking care of a friend's house while they were out of town, and he had a Wii with it. And I was like, oh, this is literally the only game he had. And I was like, fuck, okay, fine, I'll try this. And I got super cracked out on it. And that's like, we're talking like, however long ago that was, like 10 years ago or something. And now it's like a thing for Switch and everyone's freaking out. I'm like, wait, that same game that was for Wii that now everyone's excited about? Okay. I don't know what to tell you. I barely remember details about it, but Jeff, have you like for your site, have you gone and said, well, this is popular now, I guess we should be playing it?
Well, I mean, we played it when it originally came out, and then I gave it to Amanda, who we played it with, because I was like, not interested in Animal Crossing. And then when all the lockdown stuff happened, I was like, well, maybe I'll buy it and give it a shot. So I bought it and I tried playing it. I really did try, and I don't want to do what that game wants you to do. I get why people like it, but again, I need some lasers, I need some explosions, I need something. And the idea of just like, well, I can earn all these bells so I can give them to Tom Nook, and then I can take out a bigger loan to buy a slightly bigger house to put all the things with and I'm like, I'm not for me. No.
Yeah, I think at one point I described it like, imagine Lord of the Rings if that early chapter they met Tom Bombadil and then they just decided not to go anywhere. They were like, we're just going to hang out with this dude for the next 2 books. That's kind of what Animal Crossing is like.
I mean, there's stuff to do. It's just, I'm not like, that's not the sort of thing. I look to video games for kind of hardcore escapism and violence. It's kind of like one of the games. Are we doing the rest of the games from the PS5? Or?
Those are just the ones I pulled out that I was like, thought sound interesting. We can certainly, I'll answer a few more questions and I'll let you talk about some stuff like that. Like, for instance,
sure.
Chris Clark says, will the saga of Zib Butt Sniper continue in PS5? Obviously, this must be a Red Select fan joke. I'm not entirely sure what Zibut Sniper is.
Zibut Sniper is it's the Sniper Elite games where you shoot Nazis. Yeah, and so we always snipe them in the butts. If they make a Sniper Elite game, I'm always down to play it, as long as it's not the stupid zombie spinoff, which I just don't.
That was too hard, man.
I don't care for. Yeah.
I played it. I was having a great time with it, and then all of a sudden it was like, and now here's 300 zombies at once. I'm like, what? No, this isn't what I signed up for. I have a sniper rifle. Help! Where's a bell tower?
I don't know if they're actually making another one of those.
Yeah, but the last Sniper Elite, I played the shit out of that game. I was like, it sounded like a game I would not like. And then my friend's like, no, dude, you seriously play it. And the moment they go into X-ray with a bullet going through a Nazi's brain, I was like, you are now my new best friend, Sniper Elite.
Yep. I managed to shoot Hitler's one testicle off a number of times in the Sniper Elite franchise, and it never gets old. So.
Dennis says, what are the best games that are like Saints Row 3 and 4 on the PS4? Ooh, Grand Theft Auto 5?
That's pretty. I'm trying to think of anything that has the same like sense of humor as Saints Row 3 and 4. But that's difficult.
Wasn't there one called like Payback or something like that? There was like bank robbers and it had sort of a Saints Row-ish type vibe to it.
Oh, Payday 2. That's a lot more serious. I'm trying to think of something that has a little bit more like irreverence to it. I don't know. I mean, the Saints Row 3 remastered. Does that count? And if you just want an overworld drama game.
Well, I mean, 4 was the one that kind of broke the mold for those games too, where it was like we're not just doing a Grand Theft Auto ripoff. You can play it that way if you want to, but now we're ripping off like what is it,
Infamous.
Sorry, yeah. Now we're gonna rip off Infamous instead, and so it's like a goofy, irreverent, super dirty version of that Infamous instead, which I really enjoyed the shit out of.
Yeah,
but I don't know what Harvest Moon is. Are you a big Neil Young fan? Is that what's happening? I don't know what that is. So we'll just move on to the next one here.
Okay.
Any comment on the Xbox Series X and its reveal? I didn't even watch. I was pretty sure if I got it, it wouldn't be day one. So I was like, okay, whatever. Oh, here's a new Gears of War.
Well, as near as I mean, I don't know if they've done something today that I haven't seen, but if it's the stuff that they've shown up until this point, they still haven't. They have yet to do their version of this conference. So they showed a bunch of third-party stuff, which seemed fine. I mean, I think the Xbox has a lot of advantages if you're really into backwards compatibility because of the Xbox One's backwards compatibility with the 360 and the original Xbox One or original Xbox. That ecosystem kind of has the ability to go backwards and forwards and kind of retain more, whereas the PS3 is still kind of this big speed bump where there was a bunch of stuff that didn't come forward.
Right.
But I really just need to see more about what besides Halo and the third-party stuff that they showed Microsoft has up their sleeve, because like I said before, it's kind of all about console exclusives at this point. So
all right, so before we go on to the challenge round, you mentioned there were some games that you wanted to discuss that were at the reveal that I did not bring up. So go for it.
I didn't realize there was a challenge round.
I
didn't prepare for a challenge round. Okay.
You're not warned as to what the challenge will be, so you cannot prepare for the challenge round. The challenge round is here to challenge you. And if you can beat Dark Souls, for God's sake.
No, there were some other things in here that I really liked. Bug Snacks is being made by the people that made Octodad, the Dadliest Catch, which was a really silly game about an octopus stuffed into a business suit trying to make sure that nobody found out that he wasn't actually an octopus. He was trying to be a dad in the suburbs. And they're making this game called Bug Snacks. Bug Snacks is about it's like an island full of bugs, except the bugs are all different foods, and then they say their name like Pokemon. So the trailer has like a little strawberry with googly eyes on it that walks around and says like strawberry, strawberry. And then apparently there's like these weird animals that will eat the food, and then it turns different parts of their bodies into the food that they've just eaten. It's so weird. I want to play it. I want to play it.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if I'm going to play it, but there's a game called Goodbye Volcano High that is moody teenage dinosaurs in the days leading up to the extinction event that destroys the dinosaurs. And just like, oh man, we should play one last show in our indie rock dinosaur band. And I'm generally not into those sorts of games, but there's just something so creative about this whole idea of moody dinosaur teenagers in high school having existential crises. So
as Iggsy points out, apparently it's not the creator. From what I've read, it's one of the writers on the game. Apparently has been posting on, I forget the name of it, one of those Deviant Art or something like that, a bunch of like fan things of underage characters having sex, but it's art. Wow. It's not like he's posting photos of children in pornography. So this game Twitter is exploding about this right now. Like, fuck that. I won't buy that game because that guy likes fictional characters, imagining fictional characters, children having sex. And I actually have no idea how to respond to that. Didn't look like my kind of game to begin with. So, hey,
I was unaware that was a thing.
I just found out about it like 20 minutes before we started recording. I was like, what? Looked into that. That was a thing that happened. Whew. And what else, Jeff? Sorry, didn't mean to derail you there with child pornography.
That's definitely a swerve. That was pretty much it. I mean, the only other things that I don't think that you covered was the Kena Bridge of Spirits, which was very kind of Pixar meets Pikmin type of thing that looked really good. And then the fact that they're going to be re-releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 on or some version of Grand Theft Auto on there. That was like the way they kicked it off, which was a really strange way to kick stuff off.
Wasn't that a launch title for PlayStation 4?
I don't think so. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on the PS3 and the 360, and then it was eventually ported to the PS4 and the Xbox One and the PC.
I thought it was one of those ones that like launched with it, but had come out at the same time as a not as good version for the PlayStation 3.
No,
I'm not sure.
If I don't believe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure Grand Theft Auto 5 released only was fully released for the 360 and the PS3 before there even was a next generation of consoles.
Wow. So that's how long that game's fandom has been going on. I mean,
yes.
Does that arguably the most successful game of all time?
With the online component, yeah. Let's see. It was 2013. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is 7 years old at this point.
That is an awful long life for a game that is that old.
Yeah.
I admit, there's been enough stuff about it lately. I'm like, maybe I should pop that sucker back in and see what is going on with all that online stuff that people seem to like. But probably not going to be fair. Well, let's go into the challenge round. I got a ticker and everything. See, very exciting. So tonight's challenge round topic is movies that prominently feature a made-up video game. Now, the image will be from the movies of the game in question, and you'll ask, each one has 2 challenges. The first challenge is name the movie. The second is name the game, which, like I said, are fictional, are not real games.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, so this is the hardest one we've ever done. I seriously don't expect I would beat that 99% of these, but some of them I would. Like, the answer to every question is Jumanji. Jumanji is not actually one of them. Every time I Googled Jumanji game, thinking maybe there'd be an image of like the still screen that didn't say Jumanji on it or the character select, it was images from the actual real life Jumanji game that they made. And I was like, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to search too hard there and figure out what that was. All right. Are you ready for your first challenge? I don't have music for this, so just imagine there's exciting music.
I think I'm pretty sure I've seen this movie, but I don't know what it is.
Clue number 1. It came out in 1983.
Okay. Time and space are a complete and total mystery to me. So,
okay. You ready for clue number 2?
Sure.
It was an anthology film.
Okay, an anthology film.
We're gonna call this. See if you can beat the Watchers. Nobody's got it yet. So
yeah, anthology film. Was it a horror movie?
Well, it was a horror anthology. Yes.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of my 1980s horror anthologies, and all that's coming to mind is Creepshow, and I know that Creepshow doesn't have any video games in it.
It should.
Yeah. Yes, it should. I don't know. I give up. I completely.
Clue number 3, and your last clue is the person that is facing the screen there is Emilio Estevez.
Okay. He has the hairstyle of a young Emilio Estevez.
He does. He pretty much had one hairstyle back then. So.
Pretty sure I'm going to slap myself in the face, but no, I don't know. I give up.
The answer to that one is 1983's Nightmares, a just okay horror anthology, although that segment in question was the best of the 3 of the segments, and the game was called The Bishop of Battle, which they say a lot.
I remember The Bishop of Battle. Yeah, I've never actually watched that movie, but I know about The Bishop of Battle. So, yes.
It feels like something someone else mentioned, Jason Murphy. It feels like something Jason Murphy would mention a lot.
Yes, I bet Jason would have gotten that in one, because you're talking about 1980s horror anthology. Like, I think that he would have known that more than he would have known anything video game related.
So I'm going to be kind of making up the clues off the top of my head, but you let me know when you want it, where you're ready for a clue in any given round. You're trying to beat the fans.
Okay, beat the fans.
All right. Here's the next one for you.
That is Oh, that is James Bond. That's I don't remember the movie, but it's like the world domination James Bond, and then you get an electric shock when you get hit. But there's no way that I could tell you which Bond movie or the name of the game. But I remember what the game is because I was like, "Oh, that game looks fun." Oh, they have to shock you to play it. That sucks.
You are correct. In fact, that movie is, I will just go and say it. That one is Never Say Never Again from 1983. Okay. That was Kim Basinger is the Bond girl, by the way, in that one. And it was Sean Connery's final Bond film that was made years after he had already retired from being Bond as I forget what the deal was, but there was the rights were split to Bond. So the company that was like, well, fuck you, Broccolis. I'm going to make my own Bond movie and I'm going to give Sean Connery, who's too old to be doing this shit, a bunch of money to come back and play James Bond. But that's what it was. The game was called Domination. So you got it really close. Why are people still guessing movies? It was Never Say Never Again. So just so we're clear. A lot of people haven't seen that one because it doesn't come with Bond sets. If you buy like a Bond set, Never Say Never Again is not included generally with them because it's not owned by that production company. Just like the original Casino Royale is not going to be in there either. And sometimes On Her Majesty's Secret Service is including, depending on which set, in fact, you are buying. But yeah, someone's like, oh, it's not a Bond film. Jordan, it is a Bond film. It's just not made by the Broccolis. I'm not going to give Broccolis exclusive rights to tell a Bond story. I don't know what to tell you. All right, you ready for number 3? This one you're going to get. You better do it fast, though, because you get it before the fans.
All right. That is Last Starfighter from the movie The Last Starfighter.
Yeah, although the game is just called Starfighter, to be fair.
Oh, yes. Greetings, Starfighter. Yeah, I remember that one. What is it? What does he say? It says, greetings, Starfighter. You've been, scouted by the Star League to defend the Armada from Zur and the Conan Armada. And that guy says, what do we do now? And then the thing goes, and he goes, we die. And then they activate Death Blossom, and Griggs is like, and then they come back, and he takes his girlfriend into space, and what's his face? Takes his face off. Yeah, I love that movie. Last Starfighter is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's a gooder. All right, you ready for this next one? All right, this one is going to be harder, I promise. This is number 4. What is this?
Is that Gamer?
Yes, it is.
Is that the game from the movie Gamer?
Well, the game is not called Gamer. There are actually 2 games in the movie Gamer, and this is him playing in the middle of playing one of them.
This is not the action one. This is like the Facebook one or like the Second Life one.
Yep.
I'd actually like to know if anybody in the chat off the top of their head can tell me what the name of either of the games in the movie Gamer was, because I sure as hell don't remember any of them. I just remember what's his name.
Gerard Butler. One of the few Gerard Butler films I've actually gone back and said, I kind of want to see that again. I am not the guy who normally is like, man, that movie is the kind of bad that I like. Gamer is the kind of bad that I like. It's pretty funny. It was your Murder Burger says it was Gamey McGame Face. Well, that's what it's called from now on. No, it was actually Society. The other game was called Slayers, for the record. Not terribly. Names. Yeah, not very. They didn't put a huge amount of effort into naming the games in that particular movie. All right, so this next one is going to be, as I like to call, a gimme. Are you ready?
Go. Let's do it. That's War Games. That's global thermonuclear warfare. Is global
war? Yeah, warfare.
Global thermonuclear war. Yes, from War Games. That was
totally a gimme. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I got to mix this up. Also, there's only so many choices out there. I was like, I spent hours trying to find enough answers to make 10. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ! You'd think this would be easier, but no.
I don't believe there are 10.
No, there are 10. All right, this next one is also kind of a gimme. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah. That's the fucking thing from Ready Player One. What are they? The Oasis? Is that just what it's called?
Correct. Yeah, it's Oasis. That's good job, Jeff. I wouldn't have remembered the name of the game, to be honest. I would have gotten Ready Player One, but not the name of the game.
I don't know.
I'm actually curious to know if you're going to know what this next one is. It is one that some people would get immediately, and others would go, "Shit, I know what that is." Fuck, and you might be one of those two. I'm curious to see which of these two people you are.
That appears to be the tank game from Tron, right? No.
Yeah.
It is the tank game from Tron? Okay.
The hard part is, what is that game called? They say it multiple times in the film.
Is it space? It's not Space Paranoids, is it?
It is. It is Space Paranoids. Oh my God, Jeff, you are like a champion at this. Holy crap. Now I see why you're so good at Dark Souls.
Wow. I just remember that because it's the silliest name for a weird. And then at the end, he gets the the printout from a dot matrix printer that's just like, Flynn owns Space Paranoids. So say I, a computer, the end. And it's like, okay, all right.
He says, this is the most successful lightning round ever. I know, right? No one is more shocked than me. I was ready to be like giving shit. Jeff's like, how in the fuck am I supposed to know these things? And Jeff is just like all over that shit. But not this next one. Okay. This is going to be the one that's going to stump him. I'm absolutely sure of it. Bang.
Randy the Ram Jam versus the Ayatollah. I think this is from a movie I've never seen. Is this from the movie The Wrestler?
It is.
I've never seen it, so I couldn't tell you what the name of this game is.
God damn it. I can't believe he even knew what it was. Believe it or not, the game that he plays at it, because he plays a character in it, is called Wrestle Jam 99. But they actually have it appear on screen in the movie. That's so silly that that's a thing, but it is in fact a thing. Okay, this next one, admittedly, I'm cheating a little bit. Okay. God damn it. The image is the wrong size again. What's wrong with you, Chris? You set this up right. All right, it's just gonna have to do. Okay. All right.
That's from Existence. And then isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, and what the hell was the name of that game with Jude Law and what's her face? So
technically, through most of the movie, they are playing a game called Existence. But kind of the spoiler at the end is, all of that was part of the game too, and the actual game is called
one frame at the end of the least popular Cronenberg movie of all time. I have no idea.
Dude, that's definitely not the least most popular Cronenberg film. That's probably the one with Robert Pattinson, Cosmopolis or whatever it is, where it's just Robert Pattinson in a limo for 2 hours. That one is terrible.
I don't remember it. I don't remember the name of the game.
I didn't expect you to get it. I wouldn't have. I'm a huge Cronenberg fan, and there's no way I would have guessed it. It was Transcendence. All right, one last one. I promise this is the last one. You may or may not. This may be hard or it may be easy. I'm really unclear how you're going to fall. I would have no idea what this was, but other people, depending on how old they were when this came out, might have a different idea.
Let's see. I don't know, so I've got to use some context clues. This could be any.
You've already been beat to it.
Oh, okay. Iggsy knows the Spy Kids 3D. Yeah, I think I saw Spy Kids 3D once, like when it came out. But yeah, I did not. I did not know that. This is a video game inside of Spy Kids 3D.
Well, yes, because the Spy Kids 3D had a subtitle that was the name of the game. Do you remember what that was?
Not even one iota. Not even a little bit.
It was Game Over, which is a terrible name for a game.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on there. That's just weird. Anyway, so that was our normal part of the show. Thank you, Jeff, so much for joining.
Did I win? What do I win? What do I get?
You won my undying respect and friendship.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'll buy you a beer the next time we're out in public again. He said, snickering, knowing that will never happen and civilization has already ended. We just don't know it yet. What?
Hey, at least you can stay inside and play PS5 games. I mean,
that's true. That's true. Yeah. Assuming there's any robot still functioning to deliver my PS5 to me.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so let me give people one more chance. If you want to ask a question, do it now because we are wrapping up. I'm going to turn off my challenge and put on my Ask Chris and Jeff your questions there. We are going to wrap up, and Jeff is going to do his little dance. That's his little wrap-up dance.
Wrapping it up, wrapping it up, and wrapping it up. It's time to wrap it up.
Well, I will ask you, what are you playing right now? Like, I know you play a lot for the site, but what are you playing when you don't have to be playing something for the site?
Let's see. Last week, I finished the latest Shantae game. There's a franchise out there, purple hair genie, half genie Shantae, and I decided to go back and play all of the Shantae games. So I've been playing this entire franchise. There's 5 of them in a reverse chronological order, which is a real trip because you get to watch these games like kind of devolve and become a little rougher and rougher over time. So yeah, I'm on the next to the last one, and then the first one came out on the Game Boy Color, and I'm not sure if I'm going to actually play that. I was also playing some Hitman 2 right before we started because it's on my Xbox, and I was like, I need something I can play for 5 minutes. I'm like, Hitman, Monster Train.
Have you played? I don't even know what that is. That sounds intriguing.
I don't know what that is. Let's see. Monster Train on Steam came out.
You knew what Gamer was, but you don't know what Monster Train is?
No, I mean this looks like this is like a Steam kind of deck builder type of thing, which is probably why I don't know what it is because I'm not big into. I don't know how to build a deck, so I don't play that many virtual card games.
Okay. Shantae, I don't know what he's talking about.
Isn't that a very horny game? Well, I would say that like most of the characters in the Shantae franchise are ladies, and then like the main character is wearing kind of a belly dancing outfit. There's a lot of kind of boobtastic characters. I don't think it's quite as it's not as horny as it sounds. It's just
not as lascivious.
Yeah, most of the characters in the game are women, and they're mostly wearing not necessarily revealing outfits, but flattering outfits, shall we say. I don't know.
And then favorite console ever? I'm always like, whatever the current one is.
I mean, the cheaty answer is PC, right?
That's fair, yeah.
But I would say I've really enjoyed this PS4 this generation. Probably the PS2, though. The PS2 was really kind of upped everything a little bit.
I would say that was, of all the consoles I've owned, that was the one that felt most game changingest, outside of the PlayStation itself was pretty game changing when it came out, but there was such a huge step up from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, and especially the games themselves just evolved so much in that transition. Murderburger says, what casual mobile games do you play? I really don't play any these days.
Not really. I mean, I spend all my time I don't go to a job, so I sit in front of a computer and right beside a TV with a game console. I don't really play games on my phone, and my phone sucks. I've got an old phone, terrible. So I don't really.
I used to play a lot of them, and now if I play anything, it's just solitaire, and it's usually because I'm trying to make myself tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the Hartley Sawyer firing?
I don't know who that is.
I will look up for information. I've recognized the name, and then I'm just forgetting what.
It's that guy from The Flash.
Oh yeah, the guy who plays the elongated man, who was fired for saying some tweets, putting some tweets out, a while back, I guess, not years and years. We're talking about last year, he's trying to be funny. He's clearly not doing it to be outwardly offensive. He's doing it to be shock comedian, but he's testing the waters. I felt kind of bad for him. It was like, look, man, it's just bad timing, dude. You were doing it a little too late into the run of people saying you can't do that anymore. As opposed to James Gunn, where it's like, that was 9 years ago, dude. I think we can relax a bit. And that was the same thing. It was like he was trying to be shocking humor, which was normal back then. And nowadays it's not so okay. I don't know. That whole thing, I'm like, he's like, hey, I totally don't blame anyone for firing me. I get it. I fucked up and I'm really sorry. And anybody I hurt, I'm really sorry. Believe me, that's not the person that I am. And everything I said was wrong. I'm like, he's doing all the right stuff. It's just kind of, hey, what are you going to do?
I can never express how glad I am that there is no record of what a shitty teenage and young man I was in this world, because
so we're going to look at some of the audio from old Loading Bar episodes. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a curated selection here.
No, I mean, I'm talking about when I was in my 20s, I was horrible. I was a horrible person. I mean, some may say not much has changed, but I was just very angry when I was in my 20s, and I had a lot of like strong opinions about things. I didn't want to listen to whatever. You can't tell me what to do. Nah. So I don't know. The whole. I don't know what that guy said. I don't know. I don't watch The Flash. I haven't really kept up with any of that stuff.
When I read the tweets, they clearly were a guy who was trying to be funny in a shocking Howard Stern-y sort of way, not a guy who is trying to make a statement. And for me, I was like, come on. Dennis points out it was 6 years ago. I was like, I think there's a point we can go, look, he's obviously not that person. He obviously was trying to be funny in a time when it was sort of borderline. I feel like it's something we probably could let go, but that discussion is ongoing, and I'm not the right person to have those answers for anyone. I'm not the one who should be saying so. And I think he's taking the same stance, which is probably the right thing to do. It's a shame, but honestly, I'm not watching The Flash currently anyway, so whatever.
There you go.
I hope that people are able to collectively move past it, and he is able to find work again, because I hate that the guy told some slightly shocking joke 6 years ago that is going to ruin his whole career right as it was taking off is kind of terrible. When there's so many real assholes out there who are currently assholes who deserve to not have a career. Anyway, we're not going to answer what the best Talking Heads album is. Instead, we're just going to wrap this up and say thanks to Jeff. You can visit him at rageselect.com. You can hear a lot of me over there sometimes too. We just recorded a thing. I don't know if that was for your Patreon fans only or if it was for regular fans.
Nope, coming out tomorrow. You can hear Chris and I play the Persona 4 Golden PC release. So
there you go. If you know me, you know I love Persona 5. So I'm like, what? There were Personas before Persona 5? I thought at some point the number 5 would just be really relevant in the game. I didn't realize it was the 5th game.
Yep.
I did realize that. But anyway.
All right.
Yes, sorry, I'm an idiot. We'll be back next week, or I'll be back next week with another show. I don't know what it'll be about. I'm toying with movies about the end of the world. We shall see what happens. And thank you to Jeff, and thank you to everyone for watching, and good night. Sweet Prince, I don't know. That's not the image I was hoping for. We'll just end the broadcast.